evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 34th episode of Bright Spots. I am so excited that you are here. It is Thanksgiving week, right? Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I'd love to hear about your plans. Are you going out to eat? Are you ordering in? Are you cooking a traditional meal? Are you having a family gathering? Are you practicing social distancing and wearing a mask around those that you haven't been around? Those who don't live in your own home, aren't inside your bubble? Okay, so it's a new world, right? This is a new holiday during this crazy time that we've been living in all these months. And I think people are a little stir crazy. Wouldn't you agree? We're ready to get back to life. We're ready to see our families and ready to give some hugs, right? So we have a wonderful guest this evening who we're going to talk to about gratitude. We're going to talk about the importance of gratitude. And those of you that know me know that I love gratitude and I believe in the power of gratitude. And writing a gratitude journal is so very important to me. And if you've been following my Facebook page, you know that I've been doing the 30-day gratitude challenge this month and posting something every day that I'm grateful for. And I may make it a longer than 30-day challenge because I've really enjoyed doing it and I've really enjoyed interacting with you as I post those grateful moments and hearing about yours. So if you're new to the Bright Spots studio, the way this works, this is interactive, folks. Please write us a comment down below. Tell us you're here, say hello, ask a question of our guest or of me, and we would love to interact with you. Don't be shy now. Make sure you ask those questions. We want to hear from you. And also, if this is your first time tuning in, let us know where you're from and how you found us. Is it our guest that brought you here, or did you just stumble upon us on social media? Whatever it is, we'd just love to know how you found Bright Spots. So it's been a great week so far, and there's been a little rain here in Ohio, but our guest is in Florida, and she tells me that it is 75 degrees there and beautiful, no humidity. So I want to take a moment and introduce you to tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is Lorraine Lane. As the founder of Lane Business Consulting, Lorraine Lane has inspired business owners and executives for over 20 years to step fully into their leadership roles. She works with her clients to develop their strengths, skills, and insights. Her objective is to open the doors of hidden opportunities for business owners so their businesses flourish and are then able to contribute back to their employees, customers, and communities. Lorraine is a speaker, consultant, mentor, author, and podcast guest. She has authored Business Building Referrals, Play Your A Game, and Become a Networking Superstar. And with her partner, Jay Michelin, just recently published Get It Right or You'll Regret It. Both of these publications are now available on Amazon.com. Lorraine is a sought-after corporate trainer and coach and has served on the board of directors for Leadership Pasco and Chambers of Commerce boards and now serves as the Global Business Connector for Women's Speakers Association for the Tampa, Hernando area. Please join me in welcoming Lorraine Lane. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi there. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. I hope you are.
I am excited about cooking tomorrow and hosting my family.
So are you cooking turkey or ham?
Turkey. A big turkey.
Yes. With all the fixings, right?
Yes. Yeah, my grandson loves everything about Thanksgiving. So yes.
So what is your favorite thing about Thanksgiving?
My favorite thing is it's a day of being grateful, for everything that we have, especially family. Family means a lot to me, and so it's brings to mind November for me is always the gratitude, being very grateful for what we have. And I heard someone say today that we have a tendency to be grateful when we lose something, the appreciation for something that was lost. And, I was thinking about that, and we lost my mom a couple years ago. And, the gratitude for her and missing her is something that kind of resonated with me. Were we as appreciative and grateful when she was with us? So
Right.
we need to be thoughtful about that, I think, as we go through these days of being grateful for the things that we're surrounded with, and especially the people. And I hear that people are traveling to go see family, because I think this whole isolation, that environment that we're living in, has brought that we want to be with people that we cherish and that we love. We need to be with them.
Yeah, we need that human connection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, Lorraine, you call yourself a gratitude evangelist.
Yes.
Tell us what that means.
Well, so in my life as a corporate manager, and I was in HR, and then a training and development manager for customer service nationwide. And I noticed that managers really didn't show a lot of appreciation for their staff. And I would hear managers say they should just be grateful to have a job and just be grateful to be here. And that struck me as not really a good attitude. And I began looking at retention and what that meant and why people would leave an organization. And there's been a lot of writing and articles about the fact that people leave managers, they don't leave jobs. And that's very true, because I used to do the exit interviews, and people would share with me that they didn't feel their manager appreciated them or valued them. So I did a lot of coaching of the managers for the organization that I worked with, and showing gratitude and what that means. You can't expect that people just know, or that without expression, people will have that feeling of being valued. And so how to express that gratitude? And you would think people would automatically know, but they don't. So one of the things that I have noticed is that there are various ways of showing gratitude, and one is recognition and appreciation. And those two things are different. Recognition comes in the form of you've done a great job, you completed that project, or how you handled that customer. So the recognition is for performance, for work that's done. And it's a fleeting kind of thing. You're recognized for something, and you get the gold star or you get the trophy, right? Then there's appreciation. And appreciation is much more personal. So when I appreciate you and tell you what I appreciate about you, or how you contribute to the organization or to what we're working on, that's a much more personal thing, and it lasts longer, I think. So there's a difference in how we show recognition and how we show appreciation to people. And we need to speak it. We need to express it. People need to hear it. So I think we can't overdo the fact that we're grateful for people, or that we want them to know that they're valued. So I'd like to quote Chesterton, who said, "I would maintain that thanks are the highest form of thought, and that gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder." So I love that. Gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder.
Wow, that is really good.
I love that quote.
Yeah, that's an awesome quote. Really, just an awesome quote. So, You told me off camera that you worked in the corporate world, corporate America, prior to getting into speaking. Share with our audience a little bit of how you journeyed from corporate America to being a consultant and now speaking nationally, internationally, and what did that look like?
Okay. Well, it was kind of a rough journey. So when I was in corporate America, I was in human resources, and my manager said to me that there was a need for trainers and that I should make that part of my job to go and learn how to train and present and facilitate. So I did that, and it was not comfortable for me to stand in front of the room and do these trainings. But as I kept doing it, I got more and more comfortable. And then my job became training and development for managers across the US. And so I was in front of the room a lot and learned from other people that I admired, that I thought were really good facilitators, and just kept honing my skills. Then, after my corporate career, I started my own business, not with a whole lot of thought, but out of necessity. And so, again, doing presentations and facilitating in front of the room and speaking. And I will tell you that facilitating a training is very different from speaking. So those two things are quite different. And I didn't realize that until I started speaking on different topics, and I still facilitate trainings. And now it's even different with using Zoom or these virtual platforms. So I teach a program on how to do a presentation, and during the program, people do their presentation. And they found that doing the presentation virtually was quite different than doing it in person. So it was a journey with a lot of practice and learning that the different ways that we speak require different skills. So facilitation is different from standing up and just giving a keynote, and different when you don't have your audience in front of you to have that energy that you're bouncing off the energy in the room. So quite different, develop different skills.
Right. Right. So, folks, if you're just joining us, our guest this evening is Lorraine Lane, and she is a gratitude evangelist. If you'd like to learn more about Lorraine, you can go to lanebc.com, and we'll be showing you that website here in just a bit before we close out the show. But if you would like more information, you can go there and check out Lorraine's information. So, Lorraine, what would you say is the biggest challenge speakers have faced during the pandemic? What do you think? And we talked a little bit about Zoom and transitioning our speaking to a different platform. Is that the biggest challenge, or did you see anything else?
Well, I think, for me, one of the challenges is, so I'm familiar with Zoom, and I do a quarterly leadership forum for managers, and they're on a different platform. So I can't see my audience with that platform. And that is a huge challenge. So I realize that the interaction that with people is hugely powerful. And when it isn't there, it's a challenge for me as the facilitator of the conversation when I don't see the people that I'm interacting with, and doing more speaking than I would if we were in the room together. So that's a big challenge. And the other thing is we get a lot of feedback from how people, their body language, and heads are nodding or not. And when you can't see that, that leaves a big part of communication not there for you. So I think that is a big challenge as well. And I'm hearing from people, I'm learning about remote management and so on. So I'm doing a lot of studying about that and what's happening and what people are noticing. And I was on a call with about 30 CEOs, top level managers, and they realized the language they were using was off-putting to people. So one of the CEOs said she was calling her staff and saying, "I'm just checking up." And the words checking up, people would be very quiet and not say much. And she realized checking up versus checking in had a very different effect.
Mm.
So the language we're using is hugely important. And with this group of managers that I facilitate a session every quarter, and I ask them, how are your people doing with working from home, with the remote working? Oh, it's fine, it's great. And I said, so when you ask people how they're doing, what's the response? And they say they're fine. And I said, well, are they really? Do you ask the next question, right? So learning how to communicate and listen with a different awareness is important. So the questions you're asking, are you getting the full answer? Are people trusting that they can tell you really what's going on and what's the biggest challenge, right? So when you're not working together next to each other, you're missing some of that conversation and some of that observation that you would make when people are not there in the same office with you. So
Yeah, I can see that. And so many businesses have gone to remote working now that were never remote before. You know, they are, it's a new way to do business. I know in my line of work, a lot of the non-clinical folks have gone to being remote workers, and
right.
it's a whole mindset shift. And it's not only a mindset shift for the managers, it's a mindset shift for the employee.
Exactly.
Because it's different to try to manage your time when you're in your space,
Yes.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially if the refrigerator's too close by, right?
Exactly.
You know? So,
yes. Or you've got children, or everybody's using the technology. Do you have enough? Do you each have a laptop? Because I know my daughter teaches grammar school, and it was very difficult because parents needed the technology and kids needed the technology, and so it was a struggle to quickly adapt to that. So
I've seen that with some friends that I have that have younger children, that, or teenagers and middle schoolers, and trying to do the balancing act so that Johnny has the iPad when it's time for his class and Susie has it when it's time for her class.
Exactly.
Because a lot of families don't have more than one. And if they do, like you said, mom or dad may be working from home as well, and they need the technology. So it's been a complete shift in our society. And I think in some respects, it may never go back to normal or what we perceive as normal, because the businesses are seeing that there are some employees who are very productive at home, even more so than they were in the office. So they can transition them to remote and stop paying rent on office space. So I see a different type of balancing act coming when we do reach the other side of the pandemic.
Yes.
So it is interesting. So let's get back to gratitude.
Yes.
So we want to talk about gratitude. Obviously, it's Gratitude Month with it being November, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So tell us why you think gratitude is important, and how does that affect us?
Well, gratitude is important for employees feeling valued. And it's a big retention tool, right? If I feel that you appreciate me, value me, and what I contribute to the organization, I'm going to feel good about being here, right? So I'm not going to be looking for another job. If I feel that I'm not valued, that my contribution and my hard work isn't appreciated, then that sets the tone for looking someplace else. And let me tell you that recruiters are finding that because people are working from home, they're much more accessible. And so recruiters are having a heyday with filling jobs because people can talk more freely from home and can interview and leave an organization if they feel that the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, right? So for managers, when I'm coaching them, I say, how are you showing gratitude for your staff, for the people that work for you? Don't assume that they know that you value them and that their contributions are meaningful. They need to hear it. They need you to show them that you are grateful for their contribution. So thinking that, people don't need that confirmation is very wrong thinking. So, we like to be appreciated. We like people to say thank you to us for even the smallest things, like holding the door open for someone. So whatever it is that we do, it takes an awareness as well. So when I'm talking with managers and coaching them, it's first of all, we need to have an awareness of what do you appreciate about this person's contribution and get the language. So when I'm coaching managers, it's like we think about awareness. What is it that you're going to show appreciation for? You don't just go up to somebody and say, hey, Lori, thanks for what you did. That's not going to mean much to you, right? So awareness, and make it very specific about what you're expressing gratitude for.
So would you say that writing thank you notes to your employees on a regular basis is that something that gets overlooked, or do you think that's something that employees see the value of?
I think if it's done well, yes. If it's something that that employee is going to appreciate, yes. And make it specific. Don't wait for a month before you express gratitude for something somebody did. I know that, it's 20 years later and I have this little folder of people who expressed gratitude to me for something that I did. It was very specific and very heartwarming, right? And I've kept it all these years. As a matter of fact, I was cleaning out some things a couple of weeks ago, and I just keep that folder because it's heartwarming to look at that and see that what I was doing was appreciated by people.
Right.
So I think, yes, if it's not something that comes from the heart, or you're just doing it because you were told to, people can see through that.
Yeah.
People can see through that. Yeah.
So in this world of technology, everybody has one of these. Yeah. Everybody texts now. Everybody does email, although email is going by the wayside, I understand, or people are on social media. What do you think about that type of thank you? If someone from a business, a manager, takes to social media to say, "Hey, Lorraine, thank you for what you did."
Mm-hmm.
Is
Well, it would depend on the organization, right? So with the companies that I work with, they would not thank their employees on social media because that's not a platform that they're on. If a manager wanted to thank someone and send a card or leave a card on a desk or something like that, or an email that was very personal, I think those things are okay. But to publicly thank an employee on social media, unless it was, say, a customer thanked an employee for a restaurant, say, and then the manager said, yes, that person really does go above and beyond, that would be a good thing,
okay.
right? But showing gratitude on social media, you need to be careful, because if you show gratitude on social media for one employee and then the other 15 aren't shown, it's like you're undoing what you're trying to do.
So,
So,
so how do you balance that? Let's say you have 35 employees, and you have some superstars, and you have those mediocre folks in the middle, and then you have your low performers.
mhm.
How do you balance that as far as making sure that you're, I guess, equally recognizing everyone? I mean, is that a matter of making a checklist of your employees and what you appreciate about each one of them? Is that an exercise you would recommend?
It's being aware. Okay. So, for a manager to think, okay, so I'm going to thank Lori for something, so then I got to thank everybody else for something. No. Be conscious of what's going on in your organization, right? And if somebody does something, like if you have a performer who is just doing what needs to be done, and they do something out of the ordinary, to acknowledge that, because that shows, oh, that behavior and what I did there is a good thing, so it might encourage more of that performance, right? So
Sure.
that's what I call the recognition. That's recognition. I recognize that you did a good job with that thing. Okay. So if I want more recognition, then I'm going to do more of those things. So that can be a really good management tactic to get people to perform better, to do more things. But if you reward just the fact that you came in on time, that is that is going to kind of dilute what you're trying to do, right?
Sure.
So um, every person is different, and some managers find it really difficult, so I start with very small steps so that they can see the benefit of doing that. And it's hugely important to retain your staff, because it's very costly to replace people.
Absolutely. So we have a comment from Trudy Wilson. She says, I like to keep thank you cards on my desk so I'm reminded to write one and tell people how much I appreciate what they do soon after they do it.
Good job, Trudy.
Yeah, that sounds like a great
Mm-hmm.
way to stay on top of it for sure.
Right. And I always encourage, I have a box of thank you cards so that I don't think, oh, I've got to send a thank you card. Oh, I'll get one. And then a week goes by and you don't do it. So I have a supply. I can just send it when I think about it.
So what is the proper etiquette? So if you do something nice for me today, how long do I wait, or is there an expiration date of when I should not send a thank you note?
But you may want to do something like different. Okay. So if somebody does something and you send a thank you note, right? So that's that instance, that's done. If somebody does something again, it may just be have a cup of coffee with them. Thank you for doing that, right? So you have different ways of interacting with people, not just one way. Like every time I do something good, I get a thank you note. Eventually, that's going to not work, right? Or be seen as insincere. Like you do the easy thing of jotting a note and not expressing. So, you don't want to hide behind your thank you note. You want to be able to express yourself personally. And so with, it's been a little difficult with this virus, but now people are starting to get back to work, right? And so just this morning, I met with a really good friend. We've been friends for a long, long time. And I did something for her and she said, could we please have breakfast? And I said, oh yeah, I'm good for that. So we met and had a great, great time. And it was a thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Very
nice. So doing something like either say an employee did a really fantastic job on a project, you might take them to lunch, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to think about what you're thanking for and make it appropriate.
So we have a question from Lisa McCluskey in Tennessee. By the way, Trudy Wilson is in Ohio. So Lisa asks, she says, hi, Lorraine, great points. Can you talk about the difference between gratitude and platitudes? Love it.
Yes. So gratitude comes from the heart. When somebody walks up to you and says, hey, great job, right? Well, what does that mean? And so the platitude kind of thing is you're doing it just for the sake of saying something. Whereas gratitude really gets at the heart of the matter. I'm thanking you for something very specific. And it's, yourself when somebody is just saying, thanks for doing that, or good job. And it has no meaning. It has no depth to it. And gratitude, when I'm talking about gratitude, it's something that is very pointed and specific and comes right at the point of taking the action. So for instance, thanking somebody for holding the door, right? So thank you for helping me, or thank you for doing that for me. So that's gratitude. Got it.
So it's the meaning behind it.
Yes. So, if you say to somebody, oh, good job, that has no depth to it. It's like asking somebody, how are you doing? Fine.
Well, before we sign off, we do want to share Lorraine's website. And Lorraine, while we're getting ready to do this, if there's anything that we have forgotten to talk about that you wanted to highlight, now's the time.
All right. Well, I welcome questions. You can contact me at Lorraine@lanebc.com. And I frequently have various things that I put up on Facebook on my business page, events that I host, and I'm hosting how to do a 10-minute presentation program starting in February of next year. So if you want to be informed of those things, then just get on my email list. And I promise I won't bomb your email. So yeah, I won't show up there every 10 minutes.
So this is Lorraine Lane's website, and it is lanebc.com. So tell us a little bit about the website and what areas should we not miss?
Okay. So you shouldn't miss looking at programs, and you already talked about my 2 books. And the other thing is, if you want to know more about Women Speakers Association, reach out to me. I'm happy to introduce you to that platform and that organization, which is awesome. And like I say, if you have questions, contact me. I'm happy to spend time answering any questions or sharing resources. So everything is pretty self-explanatory on my website with the programs that I offer.
We seem to be having difficulty getting the site to load, but that could be, I'm not sure.
Well, it had the first page.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. But we'll try to get that back up here before we sign off. Okay. So I've put Lorraine's email at the bottom, and she said she is welcome to take your questions, Lorraine@lanebc.com.
Right.
Be sure that you reach out to Lorraine with questions. Do you do consulting as well, Lorraine?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do executive and professional coaching, consulting, and I have been a corporate trainer for many years, so I have different offerings that are shown on my website, and I can customize any training. So I do all kinds of management development, customer service. Love working with managers.
Okay. So thank you so much for being a guest on Bright Spots this evening. And I hope it's an enjoyable half an hour for you, a little bit longer than a half an hour, but that's all right. Folks, we thank you so much for tuning in. And Lorraine, I hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving, and thank you for sharing ways for us to show gratitude and appreciation to our employees. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that ends another episode of Bright Spots right here on social media. Be sure and join us next week. Next week, our guest is Trish Springsteen from Australia. She is Australia's leading expert in empowering introverts. So I have no doubt that that is going to be a great show. I do hope that you'll come back and join us next week. And as always, remember to shine your light brightly so that everyone can see.